done. So we've had a mild rain delay. Rained a couple tenths. In all honesty, we needed a couple tenths. It's getting very powdery. But we should be able to plant here in a few hours. There's just 1 or 2 fields that I'd like to spray or spread a little bit more fertilizer on. So I'm gonna go check one of those right now to see if the driveway's passable. We're gonna do that while it's drying off, and then this evening we'll be back to hammering beans in the ground. We got a little road trip first. Alright, let's go load up some fertilizer and get spread some real fast. So since we're only doing one product, we are going to go swap this bucket for the big bucket. If we get some in the back bin, we'll just spread it off after we empty the big bin.
Keep getting away with it.
Like Dad's going for a crop tour. Dad's over here putting on 28% nitrogen. So we put that on in 2 shots on our corn ground. Try to do one early, either before it comes out of the ground or right after, and then one in about a month. So he's getting that knocked out on some of the first planted. We have a rain coming tomorrow evening, or tomorrow morning I mean, and that water will help bring that down into the soil. Should be good for that corn, really pop it out of the ground. So this ground is planted. Dad said I didn't buy this fertilizer to look at it, so he asked me to put a little bit on this field. According to the variable rate, we were not requiring any, which is very hard to believe for us. Now, I'm not putting what we would normally put on corn ground, but it's very hard for us to accept that there wouldn't be any potash needed on this corn ground, so we're putting a little bit on here. We had some extra, so he wanted to put some on here. Here we are. Now, even though it's planted, we don't think it's going to hurt anything. This was planted yesterday or the day before maybe, so it's not emerged. This field's very dry, making dust, so get this on here before it rains tonight and should pop out of the ground real fast. Got a neighbor over there planting corn. Dried out pretty quick. Settled to dust for a couple hours. So a few hours ago we made a decision just to spread off the potash we had left. So that's what I'm still doing. The potash will stay in the soil. It'll be there next year if we don't use it this year, so it's not a huge deal. Some of these fields didn't require any potash, and I don't know. It's very hard for us to believe. I mean, we pulled off some pretty big yields on some of these fields that are requiring 0 potash. And I know we've built our soil a little bit, but that's just really hard to believe. So we are putting a smaller rate that we would normally apply on everything. But anyways, Dad had a minor problem with his planter the other day, and he broke the bottom of a row shank. So the shank is what everything is bolted to on a row. So that's what your meter that's metering the seed, that's bolted to your shank. So it being broke is very critical. That's a very bad thing to have happen. When that broke, it messed up the speed, the sure speed tube, or the delivery tube on the ag leader system. So this is a Sunday. I did not think we would be planting any, but Evan, Dr. Watson, he is the man. He is over there fixing Dad's planter right now as Dad is spraying 28 on corn. So I don't know if Dad will plant any today, but if we don't get a lot of rain tomorrow, he will for sure be back in business tomorrow. So that's why we do business with the people we do. They have the best service in the business. Everything breaks, and when it does, you need some support. All right, we are still spreading. It's late. I naively thought we would be done with this around 8 o'clock. It is closer to 12 o'clock. But we're going to finish. I'd show you how much fertilizer is back there, but none of my work lights work back there, so you're just seeing a reflection of the front lights. I can't see anything back there. more to the side. So that's less than ideal, but we're gonna finish. I almost said bad word. We're finishing this because I am so tired of not planting during planting season. This is driving me crazy. Now, if you're new to the show and you're thinking, well, Brian, why didn't you spread all this earlier before planting season? Mild miscommunication. Everybody thought everybody else had already spread all of it. And then we realized the barn was still full of fertilizer. Whoops. But here we are. The crops need the fert. We've got the fert. We're giving them the fert. This is the field that AGCO had their tillage plot in. Don't ever let anyone talk you into doing a tillage plot unless they bring a field cultivator to work down, or a digger for you folks out west. Unless they bring a field cultivator. A vertical tillage tool is not an adequate thing to smooth out a chisel plow. I thought the company that makes chisel plows, cultivators, would have known that. What do I know? I'm just a farmer bouncing around through this frickin' plot a year later. Finally, we found the floor. So yeah, we got a little bit of cleaning up around the ends, but we'll probably spread that with a 4-wheeler or something on a garden. But we are out of fertilizer. Fertilizer season's over. Hallelujah. Morning, folks. So we got a couple tenths of rain again last night, which, like I said in the previous video, a couple tenths isn't a bad thing. We could have used that, but that means we can't plant this morning. Dad's planter, he actually had a unit break, and I'll show you when we get over there. So we're gonna fix that this morning, and then I'd say this evening we'll both be back to planting. So let's go get that taken care of. 15, 16. Probably. You see it? Oh! Go the other way. Oh, go ahead. There we go. Okay. Row cleaner's working okay? Do you have any problems with them? They work. You got a wrench? Oh, Christ. So there's where it broke, huh? I probably should have explained what was going on there a little bit better, but basically the tip of that corn row broke off. So we had to unbolt everything off that row, put it on the new row, the new unit, or the new unit, and bolt it back to the planter. That's done. The planter's ready to go as soon as it dries out. Dad's going to go spray some wheat ground. I've got a couple little odds and ends things I need to do. I need to get my planter filled up, need to fill up my tender, but I need to get the information off of that Oxbo. That Oxbo was a demo. We have not bought it yet. So it is leaving right now and going to another potential customer. So need to get all my trash out of the cab. I basically lived in that thing last week. But also need to go over here to this field. Our neighbor's building is literally blowing into our field, and I mean, they seem to really be enthused about, you know, like getting it out of our field. So I'm going to get it out of the field so I can plant this. I can't wait till it blows in there when the crops are growing and it kills them. That's really going to be when I'm real happy with them. I don't know what the proper etiquette is on that, but it's very frustrating on my end, because God knows there's probably a lot of these around now. Hopefully we find a snake under this thing. That would really just please me quite a bit. We find a copperhead under here. BJ's coming over in the telehandler. There's probably a few buckets of aluminum. It is aluminum. Maybe we'll just scrap it and that'll be our payment, because that thing's just peeling right off of there. Basically, when they put a new roof on that building umpteen years ago, they just tacked in an aluminum roof right over top of the shingles. Can't imagine why it didn't stay on there. There's quite a bit more of this roof out here, and some of these sheets are pretty large, so we've got a grapple for that telehandler. So BJ's going to go get it, and then probably work pretty good for this application. All right, we got all of our stuff. I think we even got our records out of that thing, our digital records, so hopefully. And that thing is ready to roll on down the road. Now it is pretty covered in fertilizer, but I'm pretty sure it's getting used as soon as it gets to where it's going. So. Might be able to store the remaining beans in this bulk bin into this tender. These are our early beans. I want to try to get this on ground. It's going to wheat, so it'll be the first beans that we harvest. Alright, we are finally going to fill this planter up. Wanted to do that yesterday, just never made it, but we're here today. Dad is over spraying some wheat. Be the last pass through the wheat. Hard to tell. Hard to believe we'll be harvesting wheat in about 35 days. Today is May 16th, so yeah, about 35 days, maybe 40. Ooh, we got a little bit of trash to clean out. Forget about that. This tractor could definitely use a vacuum too. Now we're going to recalibrate our meters, just double checking. We haven't calibrated them in a good while. Been a decent amount of seed go through there. And just to try to stay accurate as possible, we're going to do that real fast here. So basically we stuff this bag under the meter housing. I flip this toggle switch, the meters spin. We weigh how much is in this bag. We compare it with what the monitor says. And that's how we calibrate. So there we go. That's what we weigh. We got to weigh out how much that bag is empty. But first we're going to take this up to the seed tanks, dump them back in. And then we got to do the back meter. So minus the bag, that is what we actually put in. So we need to correct that to read 13.08. Check. All right. All right, now we need to do meter 2. So meter 2, we're going to prime it. Right now that meter's filling with seed. It is now primed. Now we will click the next step and then we go out and measure. I'm just going to not record that, save you guys that boredom, and we will rejoin when we're heading to the field. We have our seed rates saved. Everything is folding up and we're into the field. Dad says he's got another tank to spray on wheat, and I think he's going to go back to planting corn. He only has about 450 acres of corn left, so we should finish corn. We need about, well, we probably need like 3 or 4 actual days. So there's a lot of moving. I'm going to do some spraying in between there, but corn is very near the end. Beans, on the other hand, yeah, you know, I've only got about 300 or 400 acres done. Crazy that we've had a couple tents the last 2 mornings. That dusty. Soaked right in. Very fit for planting right now. Just finishing this big field up. This is 150 acres. I was kind of curious, the Avatar not having row by row shut off and just having half width shut offs at 2 20-foot sections, what kind of acres we would make this, and it looks like we're going to make it 79 acres. So 4 acres of overlap. It happens. Definitely row by row shut offs better, but an air seeder is substantially cheaper than a planter, so there's that, and it's simpler. So I don't know. But having said that, if we did not do wheat, I would have for sure went with a Horsch Maestro instead of the Avatar. The Avatar is their air seeder version. Seems to be doing a good job, but I do kind of miss singulating beans instead of dropping them through the seeder tubes. But yep, we had a little bit of overlap there, which I was kind of expecting. So if you notice, we are going at an angle in the corn stalks. Sometimes I have just went with the corn stalks and used the same AB line as the corn stalks. So the AB line is the straight line. Basically, you mark point A, point B, make a straight line. I have the line that these corn stalks are made on in here. In fact, I don't know if I can see it from here. No, I can't get to it without disengaging. But anyways, I could get on that line, have a predetermined straight line. It's the one I made with my rock saw. But I decided planting beans, it'd probably be better just to go across these. And when we come back here in the combines, we can both get on the corn lines, the corn planter lines in the combine. And we will already be on the same AB line that way. We won't have to kind of guess or anything. I think it'll just be easier to have two AB lines, one for planting corn and one for planting beans. And yeah, that's how we'll do that. I swear it makes sense to me. So a little bit about the monitor setup here. This is our ag leader. Everything is running through this universal terminal. So basically I could plug that Horsch into this monitor too, but I want to steer with ag leader because, well, all of our AB lines are in there. All of our data is in there. I want to keep everything in an ag leader format, not a AGCO format. So this monitor here is just running my tractor functions. Usually I leave it on, I like to see my hydraulic settings, make sure, this way I can adjust my flows. I'll usually leave this one on the fuel info. There's our fuel. We are using 0.3 gallons per acre. Well, we're using 1/100th of a gallon of government juice. Got some other info we can look at if we want, but this is how I like to leave this screen. There's a map there. We're not using those lines or anything. One thing I do like about it, you can pull up your acres per hour and see your instant right there. We are running 33 acres an hour at the moment, 34. And this here, oh no, this is our blockage monitor system. So basically there's an acoustic sensor in the Avatar on every row. And basically that blockage sensor is just listening for the beans to be hitting that sensor. And if they stop hitting the sensor, one of these green graphs will turn red. And it'll make a noise, and then I'll know something's blocked. Now there is a delay when you start off in the field. It takes probably, I don't know, maybe 100 feet before you start seeing your info there. It's not like we're not planting, it's just there's a little bit of a delay there. So it is what it is. But it's much quieter in here than it was with the Pro 700. Note to self, you used the GoPro today. Don't forget the GoPro footage. Alright, so we have about 50 acres here on this farm left, and then I'm going to move. There's actually like another 400 acres of beans, but right now I'm trying to plant all my early variety beans on ground that's going to go to wheat. So sticking with that mentality, I'm going to move up the road to a farm that's going to have 60 acres of wheat. Plan on doing that first thing in the morning. It's 7 o'clock. Dax has a late baseball game. I'm going to go watch it, come back here, finish this 50 acres, which we should easily be able to do. And yeah, then we'll move tomorrow. BJ is pulling up now, so he's going to give me a ride to my pickup, and then we will get out of here. So I will join you guys again here in about an hour and a half. All right, we're back. So the kids just lost a heartbreaker, but hey, it was a heck of a game. No regrets going to it. Dax almost had the winning run. Almost drove in the winning run, but they lost by 1. Anyways, we're back to planting now. I'll finish up. So we got about 30, 40 acres. We got a couple hours of planting here, and then we'll be out of here. Dad and BJ, they're also pulling late nights. Dad's planting corn behind me, about a mile away. BJ's working a field. We'll probably plant tomorrow. So everybody's doing something, getting some production done. We do have a pretty big, we have a rain event coming in a couple of days, so we're going to attempt to really slam some seed in the ground. And one thing, the identical curve pattern at night, that is the ticket. Not having to steer manually around this field is way better, especially in the dark. Alright, it's the end of this field, and then we're gonna fold up, head back to the barn. Probably fill up the drill with what we got left in the tender. I don't think we've ran enough out to empty it, but we'll be pretty close. And then we'll head home and come back in the morning. So, hoping tomorrow to have a pretty big day. Hoping to knock out 250 acres, but we shall see. It looks like brother just got done about the same time.